Hello and welcome to another edition of This Week in ITFC History. My name is David Diamond. I'll be here each and every week alongside the man of a million spreadsheets, author of IpswichTownStats.com, top ITFC historian, contributor to my favourite game. It is the Renegade Statman.
Easy, Dave.
Easy Stat. How are you, mate?
I'm great.
Good stuff, good stuff. We'll be looking back at the names, games, wins, draws, losses that occurred this week in ITFC history. Just before we start, just to remind everyone, this is part of the Blue Monday network of podcasts. So please subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts and tweet us your memories, good or bad, to @BlueMonday ITFC. Now, Stat, we're recording this on a Monday night, virtually coinciding with the FA Cup, that exciting FA Cup third round draw.
Yeah.
And I believe you've got some news on who we've drawn.
Well, it was a little bit of a shock to me because it's just flashed up on my phone from Ipswich Town, official ITFC, and apparently we've drawn against @SUFC _tweets.
Yeah, and I don't know what I said when you did mention this to me before. Oh, great, Southend United.
Well,
That's
that's
not
what
a
I
bad
thought,
draw.
yeah.
But it's
Scunthorpe United.
It's the Norwich of the North, isn't it?
It is the Norwich of the North,
Norwich.
Sheffield United.
So would this be... Yeah, I'm not. Perhaps should check. Will this be one of these games where perhaps are we due to play? No, we played them sort of September time, didn't we?
Yeah, lost 1-0.
So probably we'll be playing them again in March. Again, it won't be one of these games where we play them in the cup one Saturday and the league the next. Probably won't it? Oh, okay. Well, they've gone off the boil somewhat slightly. We said about this on the
Whereas
pod
we're heating up.
We're heating up. So I know what you mean. You've said this to me before. You like to play someone different, don't you? Not in your division sort of thing. But
I think
draw.
In the early draw, I think we got the practice draw that they do. We got Newport County, which would have been great.
Newport County would have been lovely.
Sheffield United, the Norwich of the North.
Norwich of the North. Yeah, they're usually quite well supported. So I haven't got any problem with that. And at least we won't have the embarrassment of going out in the third round to Lincoln. Yeah. Anyway, just on another note, this week's Stat, there's been a bit of a Twitter campaign against you,
like a spat or something.
Have you stirred up a Twitter hornet's nest?
No, it's not me. To be honest with you, on Saturday I thought that we won 4-2.
We did.
I had a little bet on it, so I've been able to pay another instalment on the family holiday. All really happy. Where are we? First, we scored 4+ more goals this season 3 times.
Just on that note, how many? Obviously, how often does that come up in a season? Obviously, last season it was the very first game, wasn't it? It was the 4-2 Barnsley.
That's right. Yeah.
And I assume that was it for the season, was it?
Yep.
This season, obviously, quite early. So does that result pretty much come up every season? Because I know you bet on it every week.
For a while, I think we went about 10 years without having it. So
Really?
It cost me an absolute fortune.
So presumably you've been doing it ever since the playoff. Yeah,
and it's great that when you tweet, I think we're going to win 4-2 today, and it actually happens. And then people who don't realise I always bet on 4-2 are like, oh my God,
that's
how
what
did
it
you
was.
get that?
That's what it was. You just annoyed people because it was a 4-2 victory.
But anyway, like I said, all positive stuff. 32 points from 20 games, which is our 6th highest points haul in the last 22 years.
You told me that on the way.
So all positive stuff. Really, really happy. And then Mick McCarthy had his little bite and kind of just said that he hadn't forgot what we'd said, and then it opened up old wounds. And no one needed to do that. We all need to focus on how well we're doing this season. Yeah. The fact that we're the second top goal scorers. Disappointing on Saturday, we scored 4 and only 25% of those goals were from our own players, but that's probably Marcus Evans more than Mick McCarthy with his dictation of the budget of where the money is going.
Yeah, and it's just that Mick thing. It's just, we'll cover it now. It's just wearing a bit thin now, isn't it? He's just got to get over it, for God's sake.
I can't say...
Fans are entitled to say what they want. They pay them money. They're entitled to say what they want, and he's just got to move on, hasn't he?
What do you think would have happened in the 80s, late 70s?
Well, I said this on the pod. Robson on the Monday show that Robson famously came out back in 80, 81 when we were carrying all before us. We'd just beaten Coventry 2-0. I remember it was a hot, sort of like really late summer day, boiling hot. I think it's about 25,000 there as there were back then. Beat them 2-0, and then Robson came out and said, we were brilliant today, and we were 2-0, could have been 5. Walk scored a couple, I think. But he said the crowd just didn't get behind us. They were like zombies. And immediately, that caught on. It was, I think, even reached the national press,
Yeah.
And I think John or Patrick Cobbett, who was chairman at the time, probably Patrick, said, look, Bobby, sorry, you can't, obviously, we think the world of you, but you can't say that. And he was forced into a public apology, Well, the problem is that Mick doesn't really answer.
He's his own boss, isn't he?
That's
But
the
yeah,
thing.
I mean,
But anyway, look.
so on the Blue Monday podcast, there was a Neil Potter had decided to email him, which was great. Because, the one thing that I love about Twitter and I love about
It's
football...
interaction, yeah.
Yeah, and football's all about opinions. You
Absolutely.
love a player, I don't. I think a manager's great, you don't. And but the thing is that Neil and all these people who have a go at me, about, Mick McCarthy's comments, you've got it wrong. The real person, the enemy within the camp that nobody's noticed is Benjamin Bloom.
Oh, but that former Norwich City season ticket holder.
He used to be. I read that on Twitter at the weekend. He used to be a Norwich City season ticket holder.
What have we
So
done?
please,
we've outed him.
email Blue Monday at whatever the thing is, and have a go at Ben. He's a bit of a turncoat. We have a go at Delia Smith for being an Ipswich fan going to Norwich. Well, Ben, you should have stayed at Carrow Road. All your comments about Marcus Stewart are just diluted now.
That'll be us off the air now.
Yeah.
That's our that's us
Oh, yeah, he's
off
the
the air.
boss.
That's
Yeah,
us off
sorry,
the
yeah.
air permanently. Anyway. Stat, go on. Where are we going? First of all, first up this week. Where actually, hang on, did I see the stat machine's made a reappearance again?
It has, and I thought because we're looking this week for the 6th to the 12th of December, I've just put a little bit of tinsel around it. It's just kind of
Almost
Christmassy.
Almost sleigh-like.
Yeah. So 6th to the 12th of December. So where are we in the year? Well, it's that time when it's really, really damp. Some people have got their Christmas lights up way too early.
I've noticed this when we do a sort of new poll. You always go into weather mode as well,
Oh,
which
yeah,
is quite funny. I like that. Yeah, everyone's got a thicker coat on and extra pair of socks and
But
gloves.
you're not under the duvet this week, which is
which
is a real positive. And people are opening up their advent calendars. Obviously, we said last week behind number 2 was Dominic Iorfa, sorry, and he pops up and scores a goal. And what I really like is that we mentioned it, and it's obviously spurred the official ITFC Twitter feed because they're doing an advent calendar every day now. So I think today, being Monday, was the 4th, and I think they had Martin Russa. So it's good to do that. But before we move on, do you remember last week we were talking about one of the number ones on one of the and it was Perfect Day.
Oh yes,
various artists and stuff like that. And we were kind of trying to guess who was in it.
Yeah.
So
is that what it is?
I've asked 100 people. I've given 100 people 100 seconds to come up with a name of an artist that appeared in the Perfect Day various artist video.
What year was that again? Just remind me.
I can't go back to last week's pod, but that must have been 2004. What game did we do?
I'm trying to think. What was it? I'm trying to think. What it was in aid of? I can't remember. That's terrible.
I thought it was in aid of him passing away.
Oh, Lou Reed, was it? Okay.
Well, anyway, last week we guessed Lou Reed.
Yeah.
76 points.
Yeah.
Bono. Yeah, he was 53.
Yeah.
And Boyzone, they were in there and they were at 41. But can you name any other act? It goes all the way from...
I mean, Scottish Boyzone were in there. Westlife must have been in there, surely.
No, I think they're from different generations. Anyway, you're not going to guess any, so let me go with some of the 1-point answers.
Oh, go on then.
Well, actually, no, 12 points you could have had Shane McGowan.
Okay.
Yep. 1 point, Brett Anderson.
Oh, from Suede?
Yep. Huey Morgan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Evan Dando.
Who is that?
Isn't he in the Lemonheads or something?
I've heard the
something
name.
like that.
Yeah.
But a pointless answer was Emmy Lou Harris.
Okay.
And Burning Spear, which I originally read as Britney Spears. And I thought, hang on a minute, she's not in it. But let me throw that piece of paper down there. So,
anyway,
let's get back to why we're here.
Yes.
It's 1979. It's the 8th of December.
Era.
Your tail's wagging again.
Yep.
Bobby's the manager.
He is.
And I don't know what this team, whether they do much at the moment, but it's, as I've put down here, Man City. But Manchester City are in town.
Whatever happened to them?
Do you want me to just go ahead, or is it already pricked any memories?
Yeah, it has. But you go ahead, and I'll just chip in as I usually do. Go on, you go.
So
crack on.
Laurie Civil was in goal.
Yeah, a rare outing.
Yeah, Super Cooper was out, and we were facing Colin Viljoen, who was the captain for Manchester City.
Captain for the day. He'd obviously left. Well, he'd left this season before, hadn't he? You have a cup final, sort of that pre-cup final game fiasco. Yeah.
And
player power.
7 minutes into the game, Mick Mills does what I can only describe as a Titus Bramble run into the opposition half, runs with the ball. Eric Gates is just on the outside of the box. He does a lovely 1-2.
Yep.
Mills keeps going, finds himself in the box and just powers it in the top left-hand corner behind Joe Corrigan.
Would have been, yeah.
With an empty cage between the home and the away fans in the North Stand.
Yeah.
Mickey Mills scoring a wonder goal.
Yeah, Mills had it in his locker. Mills scored I'd say for his appearances, he did. Yeah, when Mills generally did score a goal, generally they were pretty decent finishers. I mean, yeah, go on, Stat. You carry on.
So I mean, the thing is that the attendance there, and I say only, but this was 79-80. We're top flight there, 18,221.
Yeah, we had a really bad start to that season. I think we'd lost. That was a season, I believe, of the Terry Venables Crystal Palace team of the 80s, and Vince Hilaire and
lovely kit.
And I love that kit, the white with the diagonal.
Yeah.
And I think we played them away in, I want to say September, October time, and they beat us 4-1, I think. And we went actually bottom of the league. Yep.
So the fans are taking their while to come back.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
And then in 5 minutes later, the Eric Gates show starts.
Yeah.
And so Eric Gates scores in the 12th and the 43rd minute to put us 3-0 up at half time.
Yeah.
And then finishes his hat-trick off in the 53rd minute.
Now, what was significant about this game, you made a note of this. This was incredible stuff. A run of 23 league games unbeaten, and that carried us through games like 4-0 wins at Everton away, 6-0 wins at Man U at home. It carried us all through that season. The significant thing about this game is that I remember very well, this was the first game where Gates played in that number 10 role, that impossible to mark role.
Yeah.
And I checked this after you put the games we were covering. I checked this, and if you look at the games that pretty much followed, then that was when suddenly we found that with the dream team of Cooper, Burley, Mills, Tyson, Osman, Butcher, Walk, Muir, and Mariner, Brazil, Gates. That was the team, and that was pretty much cemented in after that. And obviously, we know what happened. That was the team throughout the next season. So that game was really significant for that.
But I mean, a lot of people talk about that team, but are they any better than the team that Mick McCarthy's put together this season? Because some people would think they might give us a run for their money.
Different. Let's just say different era, eras.
Yeah.
I would think that.
It's all about the diet now.
I would think that Murin and Tyson I think that Murin and Tyson would plot a path around Cole Skews, and I love him to bits. Emma Hughes in midfield. I think perhaps they would. And
Can you not imagine, Luke Chambers with a long ball forward to Brazil?
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to imagine Luke Chambers trying to come out to engage Eric Gates with his back to different era.
Franz Tyson, you see him putting in a shift. Mick would soon have him out on loan at Notts County or something.
What do you mean you're beating a player 5 times? What are you doing? Yeah. And then laying on an assist. Just cut it out.
But I'm sorry. So Gatesy, he scored a hat trick.
Yeah, that was really the start of it, and they not stumbled. Obviously, worked on it in training, and I think virtually then Brazil became a regular. By that time, I think, and Wiremark had left. That may have been 78, 79. Woods, no, hang on, that's 79, 80, isn't it? Woods had left or probably just about to leave, and that was when that team sort of just fell into place, really. What another note was, I'll do this most weeks when I know it's a classic number one that week.
Can I sort of hum it and see if people can guess?
Go on.
Boom, boom, boom.
It's a classic, isn't it?
Boom, boom, boom. Yes, it's Joe Dolce. Shut up your face.
Knock Vienna off. Kick Vienna. No, it's Walking on the Moon. That is an absolute belt. I think it was only number one for a week, I believe. It wasn't number one for long. Round about that time.
I don't want to turn into my dad, but if you watch some of the old Top of the Pop shows from like 1984, now they had the other week, they had Queen at number 4.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Wham were at number 2.
It's crazy.
All of these Ghostbusters were in there as well. And you're thinking, these are songs, Ghostbusters has travelled with me throughout my life.
No, I know, it's mad. I know. I say that every week. BBC 4 have these reruns on a Friday evening. And it was brilliant. Last Friday was hits of like 1980, and there was like Bad Manners specials were on there. Who else? The Vapors. It's just superb. But no, that was the start. That was the real start of it, and the start of the greatness of for the next 2 seasons to come, until obviously Murin left and Robson left, and the side started to break up. So real significant game, that one.
I'm just going to have to stop you there, because I think that the tinsel's catching fire on the snap machine.
No.
I just take because you shouldn't actually leave it. You know, some people actually go out and leave lights on their tree and stuff in the house.
Shouldn't do it. It's a
make
bit,
sure you turn your lights
I'm
off.
trying to think. I was a tinsel. There was all that hoo-ha, that health and safety. Remember the Blue Peter Advent calendar where they put the candles on the bloody coat hangers with a tinsel?
Oh, I put the candles back in my pocket. That's what I was going to replace. So I'm just taking it off now.
4 candles you got there.
Oh, there you go. So we're now heading into the new millennium, as we called it back in the 1990s.
Christ, did we really?
Yeah.
We did, didn't we?
And we got past that millennium bug. So George Burley's in charge. It's a Sunday. It's the 10th of December. And we are in the Premier League. And we're away to a team called Liverpool.
Unbelievable. You've after exposing Ben as a former Norwich season ticket holder, you've just put this one in there for him, haven't you? To placate him.
Oh, you can hear Ben. Oh, yeah. Actually, you know, I really love Marcus Stewart. He was great, particularly that goal he scored at Liverpool. But yeah, we see your yellow and green shirt. So the game was played on a Sunday. I don't even think it was on.
Wasn't
TV. No,
it's a bizarre one.
Liverpool had played Olympiacos in midweek.
Yeah.
I went and had a look at that.
Yeah.
So our previous game before this Liverpool game was at home, a home defeat to Derby. Rory Delap.
Remember that game? Yeah, that was that. Sort of nothing really. We were on a real roll. We're still on a roll, but yeah, that was a bit of a shock defeat. That one, wasn't it?
But I mean, this game. I mean, to give you an idea, Liverpool had an abundance of England riches in their team. So they started with Michael Owen when he was good, and Robbie Fowler.
Some goals there, isn't there?
McAllister and Barmby were starting, and on the bench they could leave Emile Heskey and Stevie G.
Well, I suppose Stevie G probably hadn't been on the scene that long, had he? That might even been his first full season.
Do you reckon?
Maybe it wasn't.
I don't know.
G. Yeah, I'd have thought so.
When you're saying Stevie G, I mean Steve Gerrard. I know what Stevie G you mean.
No.
I have no idea when he came, but
I reckon that was one of his first full seasons. Yeah, he looked very. He had a very severe crew cut and a very, very baby-like face. Didn't you? I remember those games from those early days, but. Yeah, we'd had a great start of the season. As you said, we were lying, third? Oh, no, we're going into that game, just been beaten by Derby, but we'd had a brilliant run.
Richard Wright went in goal.
Yeah.
Keith Brannigan was back to Brannigan's again.
Did Brannigan actually play in the league game then against Derby?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I didn't know if it was a cup game.
I think
league
he did,
cup game.
yeah.
Okay.
Was there a league cup game between then?
When did we play Arsenal? Was that earlier on? Perhaps that's a bit... No, it must have been further on since then. Yeah.
Anyway, it was a saturated pitch because I think there was loads and loads of rain.
Yeah, remember.
So, to get in my sort of
weather connotation,
falling down,
yeah.
Cats and dogs, and it was quite a good half. Liverpool, as you would expect, would have a number of chances, but we kind of weathered the storm, and then in the 45th minute, Jamie Clapham picks up the ball, runs towards the Liverpool defence. He's probably about 45, he's probably just in their half, and plays a lovely ball forward to Marcus Stewart. Picks the ball up. From what I remember, I'm trying to... This is that difficult thing where I'm kind of like a newsreader, where I'm trying to read what I've written down here, but Stefan Honcho came and kind of slid in, but Marcus Stewart, being the clever player he was, just a little drag back, wasn't it?
What I remember about this goal was he almost like slalom. He's like a skier, wasn't he? I'm doing it now. He's like slaloming in and out of play. He had no right to score. It was a ridiculous goal.
And then the Liverpool keeper Westerveld came out, and I think
he hit it early, didn't he? Defender on the line as well.
Yeah, was that Babel or Hippier kind of just sort of sliding into it. Now, one thing about Westerveld, which I didn't realise, that actually he owns the Dutch rights for the Westfield Centre in Stratford, but in over in Holland. It is. That's actually what that... Is that what it's called?
Westerveld. Of course he does, yeah.
So anyway, half-time, it was like, time added on. It was Stewart's 10th goal of the season. And
Waghorn-like.
Yeah. DJ Campbell-like.
Oh, is he?
Not quite Jono-like, but clearly
no one is.
When you compare them on their day, David Johnson is a better striker than Marcus Stewart, and I'm glad that all those people
agreed
replied.
With us.
Yes,
I'd certainly say a more all-round striker than Marcus Stewart. But anyway, let's move on.
And then there was so the boos unsurprisingly rung out at Anfield. So as you would expect, and then in the second half there was a penalty appeal. Fabian Wilness fouled Robbie Fowler, but that was waved away. But one of the things I liked in this game was, well, not liked, but it doesn't seem to happen now, and they've obviously changed the rule. Liverpool had a free kick. Vino went up to kind of give his sort of comments to the referee.
Yeah.
And the referee went, hang on, that's dissent. And then he marched it forward another 10 yards. And they don't do that anymore, do they?
No, they don't. No.
But anyway, to kind of put this... Alan Armstrong came off the bench, made his debut. 800 grand from Borough.
Good sign.
But, that was our second consecutive win at Anfield.
Yeah.
And our 6th away win of the season.
Amazing.
17 games. We were third with 30 points.
Mental, wasn't it?
Champions League, here we come. I actually had already started writing my letter because emails went around there saying, please, could I be waving that big circular gold flag at Portman Road? Going,
with the music. With the music. It was just a bizarre season out of nowhere.
No, it was a great season. And, we kind of just took that league by storm, and we finished fifth, and we know all about it. But
six away wins by the end of the turn of the year, season. So 3 or 4 months into the season, 6 away. I mean, it must have couldn't even Man U maybe not have had better record than that season.
And where are they now?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Do you know what was at number 1?
Underachievers. Oh, I don't. If they're sort of modern, so I say in 90s onwards, I don't bother.
Do you want me to hum the tune?
Go on.
Boom.
Wasn't the police again, was
boom, it? Boom, boom, boom. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. No, it was was Stan by When Eminem Was Good.
I
went
like Stan.
Straight in, yeah.
I love that song.
That's before, he shouts a bit in that song. And I like a lot of shouting in songs, but he shouts too much.
That was the Dido sample, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, good. Yeah, deep sort of song. Yeah, very good. Like that.
43,000 were at Anfield, so beat you 1-0.
Unbelievable.
So, I tell you, we've got another great away day.
I can see this. It's your favourite.
Oh, I tell you what. I just thought I'd slot it in after seeing what happened on Saturday. So it's the 11th of December 2004. We're in the Championship. George Burley's in charge, and we're away to Ian Ollie Holloway's Queen's Park Rangers.
Oh yeah, because he was there first time, of course.
Yeah. So, 18,000, which is probably capacity for Loftus Road.
It probably is.
Yeah, it's a stadium that a 7-year-old's made, in my opinion. Look, Dad, I've just made a football stadium out of Lego.
It hasn't really
depending
been...
on where, sit or stand there, you don't always get a good view of the pitch. No. They had that stupid AstroTurf there for a while as well, didn't they?
They were, along with Luton, I think they were one of the first. Yeah.
Anyway, so it was a 3:00 kickoff, and Town took the lead. Jason DeVos, I think there was a corner. Don't know who it was because Curry was on the bench. There was a corner came across.
Jermaine Wright still there? No.
Yeah.
Jimmy would have been.
No, it was Jim Magilton, I think.
It could have been Jim. Yeah.
Magilton took it, went to the far post, and I think Darren Bent got there, and the ball kind of comes back in the penalty area, and Jason DeVos does like one of those strange stooping headers where you think, why on earth did you not kick it? Because it was only 1 foot off the ground, but being a defender, he felt that he needed to header it. So brilliant. We go 1-0 up in the 25th minute, and we're thinking, this is another good start for us. And then this guy, Paul Furlong, comes in and scores.
Final Furlong.
Final Furlong, scores in the 27th and 30th minute. So after being 1-0 up in the 25th minute, we're 2-1 down. His first goal. I mean, Naylor, if you look at this on YouTube or any of the DVDs out there, Naylor had a wretched time for his 2 goals. Completely lost it in defence, didn't know where the ball was, letting the ball bounce.
I remember Furlong was always a handful against us. I remember him scoring against us for other teams. Birmingham?
Yeah, Birmingham.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Birmingham, when we're going for the playoffs one season, scores the goal. I think they beat us 1-0 at St Andrews. I think he's got I'm not saying he's Nugent-like, but he's he's got a fair record
goal,
against us.
He gets the ball about 35 yards out, and Naylor is so close to him, 30 or 35 yards out. Furlong drops his shoulder, goes. Naylor turns about as quick as a cruise liner. He's gone, gets to the edge of the box, long range effort. I think it's hard and low, bang past
In fact,
Kelvin Davis.
Wasn't it Furlong that also scores again? That was a damaging defeat later on in the season when Wrighty kicks a ball out and it hits him. Do you remember? Wrighty kicks a ball, it takes a goal kick out of his hands, I think, and it hits Furlong as he's running back in the back, and he turns and he's 1-on-1.
Was that QPR or Burnt?
I think that was QPR as well later on. That was the return match. I'm pretty sure it was Furlong. That was one. Anyway, go on.
And then he scored his second goal 3 goals later. A long ball forward. Naylor again hesitates, and all I've written down in my notes is boom, which is effectively I couldn't be bothered to write anymore, but it goes in the back of the net. So
thrashes it
half time,
Yeah.
we're 2-1 down, not looking good. But in the second half, we bring on our new signing, Darren Curry.
Yeah.
£250,000 from Brighton. And I think we'd recently played them, and I think he kind of stood out. Certainly his pace did.
Yeah, he had that drop the shoulder.
Yeah.
He brilliant. I loved him. Yeah.
And the interesting thing is that 250,000. I mean, Mick McCarthy fans and Mick McCarthy moans as well, but that was the first transfer fee that we had in 2 years.
Yeah, well,
it wasn't George Burley anyhow, was it? It was Joe Royal.
That was the administration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote Burley down. That was Royal. Copy and paste in a spreadsheet. It's not good. So he came off, and now he replaced Horlock. Now, I think you tried to pull the wool over my eyes last week by saying that Darren Curry was the nephew of Tony Curry.
He is.
Yeah, and I don't believe you. Anyway, one thing I can tell you, which was true, is that he was a former QPR mascot.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but that's I'm liking it.
Did anybody who was still there think, oh bless, Darren's back again? Bit old. And
his mascot for that game against Fulham in 1982.
Yeah. Why are you wearing the away kit? And so they got him a special kit. But I often think someone like Mickey Stockwell, I wonder if he ever got confused at some point, and the ref said, and
go on, son, go on.
Yeah. There you go. Go and get your photo with the captain. I am the captain. Anyway, so Darren Curry comes on, 58th minute. Basically, he's involved with much of the game now after that. He gets the ball, like you say, on the left. He's not blessed with any pace, but forget that. I mean, if he was blessed with pace, he would have been worth £150 million.
Well, yeah, but a bit of exaggeration. He'd have been a Premier player. If with pace, he'd be playing Premier League.
145 million.
149 maybe. But
so he's
one of the best two-footed players I've seen.
Oh, yeah. Floats the ball over. Coochie's in the box. He wins the ball. I think he's got 2 defenders around him. Knocks it down to Darren Bent. And I still think Bent kind of miskicks it into the back of the net. It's a very strange strike that he's got. Even looking from the angle on the DVD I was looking at last night, you couldn't work it out. So we're back in it, 2-2, 58th minute. That's Bent's 11th goal of the season. And then, so what happened? They run to the corner, and, clearly they knew that this was going to be on the this week in the ITFC History podcast. So they start doing the easy celebration by lifting their hand up above their head. Remember we used to do that? Easy.
Oh, that's the one,
easy. Tommy Miller is desperate. If you watch the
Tommy Miller, that's the one, isn't it? That was the start of it. Yeah, that was the old, what was it? Not Giant Haystacks, Big Daddy, easy. Yeah, that's it, the one.
And then, so third goal, Darren Bent plays it back. He's in the corner, and he plays it to Curry, who is on the edge of the box. And he hits it from about 20 yards, but it's a great goal. But it takes a slight deflection.
Yeah, but it's one of those low ones, and it doesn't. Yeah, he's great technique, great. I really rated Curry, and like you said, with a bit more pace. Well, a bit more pace, he wouldn't have played for us.
So 72 minutes, we're suddenly 3-2 up. Where were we? We were 1-0 up. We were 2-1 down. Now we're 3-2 up, and then Shefki Kuchi, he has a volley near the near post where he's kind of stretching round and sticks it past the keeper. That's his 12th goal of the season. We win 4-2. Absolutely marvellous. All I really want is for there to be snow in Africa at Christmas time, which, funny enough, was the number one.
Band-Aid 2, was it?
Yeah. Well, I think, were they Band-Aid 2? Because I've written down Band-Aid 20. Because I think it was 20 years after.
What it was, yeah.
And that was a new entry.
Yeah, straight in. What they were front two, those two. What a handful those two were. Bent, just complimenting each other.
Bent and Coochie, in my mind, if you're looking at top striking partnerships at Ipswich, they're probably only second to Waghorn and Garner, I think.
Yeah, Crawford and Phillips.
Yeah, they're down there.
Well, Mariner and Weimar.
Never heard of them.
Rubbish.
Yeah. I mean, the thing for me, Mariner didn't do enough video game celebrations and stuff like that.
What is that?
I would love to see him doing a little bit of ping pong or stuff like that.
It would have been pong.
Yeah.
Boop,
yeah. Boop. And they've been, just slowly doing that. What other games did they have?
But you'd be a bit silly in front of the North Stand doing Sabutio.
Sabutio. Playing a bit of Scrabble.
Striker.
Yeah. A bit of Scrabble. So I'll have an M, an I, a C and a K, an O, a U and a T. So you thought That game was a comeback.
I did.
Now we move into
I did.
the deadly time of Duel Out. It's Saturday the 10th of December, 2011.
It was.
Ipswich are on a run of 7 successive defeats.
Really? Oh, my God. Was this the season they started really quite well and they had this when they had Bowyer, Ingemarson, people like that, Bloody hell. 7 defeats on the spin. Yeah, Chopra, yeah. Oh, my God.
So, it was on Sky.
Oh, Andrews,
Yeah, 5:20 kickoff. And I've got to be honest, I kind of smiled at half-time when we found ourselves 2-0 down.
Well, that was it. He was gone, wasn't he? I think if he'd lost that game, I mean, obviously he didn't last that much long. Well,
he lasted a whole year,
actually
nearly.
Did.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about.
He lasted way too. I would never advocate a manager hanging around for too long. They should go, and he should have gone.
I mean,
a year
this was
ago.
the one. I think this was the game. Surely, so this would have been the 8th defeat on the trot. This would have been the game because 2-0 down at half time.
Do you know what he said at half time?
Go on.
He joked to Colin Hutchings, who was his assistant manager, and said, "Do you know how to spell resignation?" So I think he had that sort of gallows humour.
Yeah.
They took an early lead. I think Craig Davies, who then went into music, didn't he?
I think I think he'd been into music quite a bit before then, and taking a bit of time out and
a sabbatical.
Taking a sabbatical out.
2 minutes. There's an early penalty. David Stockdale's in goal for us. He gets booked, and then they had a great player playing for them, Vaz Tay.
Ricardo Vaz Tay.
Yeah, he scored, I think, in the 39th minute. So we're 2-0 down. To give you an idea, some of the players that were playing for Barnsley, they had Danny Drinkwater.
Yeah.
Danny Haynes. Yeah.
No.
And not Danny Ranger, but that would have been great if you, and Niall Ranger.
Park Ranger. Niall Ranger. Yes, Niall Ranger.
Park Ranger. Do you reckon that was his nickname?
Must have been, surely, wasn't it?
Power.
Power.
Oh, you're way too ahead of me.
Oh.
Stranger? No, it's Stranger Danger, isn't it? But Stranger Ranger would have been quite good.
That works.
But yeah, so we find ourselves 2-0 down. I didn't go to this game because why on earth would I? It was a deadly... Well, it wasn't a deadly dull time. It was just a horrendous time to be an Ipswich Town fan. And I must admit, I had a little bit of a smirk because I thought, tell you what, Duel Out, you have cooked your goose.
Your goose has been cooked 2 weeks
You
early.
are now leaving. I've got 45 minutes to just... go through and you'll be gone. And then guess what?
Just out of nowhere, wasn't it?
My daughter or son were at some kind of scouts event. So at the start of when the half time started,
you got to pick them up.
That's it. I went to pick them up. Were you watching me? You didn't seem to know more
just,
about it than I was.
Just see where you're going.
And picked them up. Anyway, I come back in the house, and I'm thinking I've only missed 5 minutes of the second half. What's it going to be? 3-0 or stuff like that there. And next thing I went,
oh, it's 2-2.
Hang on. 2-2. Keith Andrews. 46th and 49th minute.
I must admit,
first one.
I don't remember any of these goals.
Well, I'll tell you, I've written a few notes.
Go on.
Goals, volley, clearance. I remember the ball that came out to him, it went in the box, and he was on the edge of the box, and he fired it in 2-1.
Right.
Bang. Then there's a cross comes over. Who would that have been from? Cresswell, maybe? Don't know. Anyway, headers it in 2-2. Incredible scenes in the away end, and I'll come up with that in a minute. Suddenly I'm thinking, well, I don't feel as good as I was before. I thought he was going. I hope he's not going to hang around a bit more. Third goal, Danny Collins. Actually, there's another Danny for you. Maybe that was a special Danny event. Danny scores 66th minute, header from a corner. We're 3-2 up. 68th minute. Michael Chopra, shot off the post, makes it 4-2. I normally like that score, but I certainly didn't at that point because I thought he's going to hang around like a bad smell.
Yeah.
83rd minute, Jason Scotland. I think there's a cross comes, and he sticks it in the back of the net. 5-2, and then Ricardo Vaz Tay scores in the 89th minute to kind of make it a bit respectable, I guess. 89th minute, so it finished 5-3. And that was, I think, only the second time we scored 5 in the second half. Certainly the first time in the league. I think the only other time is when we scored 5 at Millwall. Was what was the score at half time when we played Millwall in the FA Cup semi-final?
I think it was 1-0, Burley.
Yeah.
Burley's rocket out. It was 1-0. Yeah.
So, unfortunately, our well, I shouldn't say
Amazing.
unfortunately, because it was fortunate because we won a game, but we finished the game. That was game 20, and we were in position 20, and we had 18 points. So he really did need that.
But we must have rallied that season. He must have, because surely to keep him on, we must have had some, these seasons, 11, 12. Yeah, I can remember the game, but can I remember much about the rest of that season?
Well,
that wasn't the Arsenal. No, that was 10-11, wasn't it? The
that
League
was,
Cup?
yeah. I think the reason that he stayed along was that Marcus Evans, takes advice from other managers, and he was taking advice from Mick McCarthy, who said, no, he's got to give him at least 5 years before he finds a winning formula. Now, Stephen Bailey went to the game, and he's on Twitter, and he's also on Those Were the Days as known as sitters. Anyway, I remember watching the game, and I saw him at the end bare-chested, and it made me smile. Not that he was bare-chested, but it made me smile and made me think, as much as I was that disappointed that Jewel hadn't gone, the fact that we scored 5 goals and our fans who were only part of a crowd of 9,100 went up there and they really enjoyed it. So I spoke to Steve. Well, his Twitter name's Stephen, but in my mind he's Steve. Apologies if I'm being too formal or informal, Steve. And I asked him for his view because I thought he'd give a more balanced view. And he said, crazy game. We looked down and out at half-time and the end of PJ's reign. God knows what he said in the dressing room. I remember saying to his mate Sam Stannard that he should put a bet on us to win during the break. Ever positive me, and he is. He's too positive. Anyway, the second half was brilliant. The away end was bouncing. We stayed over in Barnsley that night, and as bad as a night in Barnsley sounds, it was epic with a load of fellow town fans out as well. It may have been December, but there were loads of us shirtless, fans in the stand. Keith Andrews' first goal and Sonko's overhead goal line clearance where he's highlights. Yeah. First time we scored 5 goals in the second half, wasn't it? Or if not, the first time in a very long time. And you're right, it was the first time in a long time, 1978. So special memories for those fans.
Brilliant.
I'm just glad I didn't go. I think I would have sat there and cried. Clearly, the coming in for the Christmas number 1, I didn't even make a note of that. I was probably still disappointed by this. So let's move.
Band-Aid
Again, yeah. Let's move
birthdays.
To notable birthdays this week.
Go
now,
on.
I'll tell you what.
This makes me
feel...
feel...
You're a certain age, yeah.
Old.
You are going to feel old.
This makes me feel old.
Everyone knows who it is if I say his middle name. Irvin Winans.
Oh, yeah.
Jason Irvin Winans. Now, some of you might know him as Andre Dazzel's dad, but some of us also know him as a great player for Ipswich. Will be on the 6th, 50.
My God.
5-0.
Incredible.
Forget everything that the Premier League tells you, because Jason Dazzell is the youngest scorer in top-flight history.
He was 12. Yeah. Unbelievable, wasn't
he? He actually came out of school.
He did.
Is there any truth that he had to leave his rucksack? He wasn't allowed to bring it into the ground. He had to leave it outside. And he had to go out and ask if he could get his sandwich box at half-time.
I didn't hear that. I heard that his paper bag that used to deliver his papers, he had to leave actually in the changing room, and he missed doing the Greenlands that evening and had to deliver him Sunday morning.
Yeah. I love the Greenland. Do you remember... I remember buying the Greenland from a guy who stood in Lloyd's Avenue or something, up near the taxi
Ronnie,
rank.
wasn't it? Was that his name, Ronnie? Yeah.
Actually, my first job was a Saturday job at Littlewoods. And my dad would always pick me up about 6:15,
in time to walk down and get
the Greenland. Yeah, fantastic.
Love the Greenland.
Yeah, so he made only a few appearances, 416 appearances, 73 goals. He's 9th in the list of Ipswich Town all-time appearance makers. But then he went to Spurs and said he was a Spurs fan, and then I kind of lost interest in him after that.
Yeah, and then we had this weird. Didn't we do this? We did this on this show, didn't we? Had that weird sort of 2 or 3 games where he came back and he looked really good. Did we not? We beat Man U in the League Cup and he absolutely ran the game. Yeah, when Tarico scored a really good goal.
Oxford, we played them.
Something like that was it? And then you think, oh, brilliant! I'll sign him up. And then literally a day or 2 later, now he's gone. Yeah, I think something went on there.
I heard that him and a young Kieran Dyer hit the town and.
Yeah, I think that was. I heard something sort of similar to that perhaps he was thought to be not such a strong influence, but I don't know.
But so, let's be honest, absolutely fantastic player, legend, Hall of Famer he is at Ipswich Town.
Loved Dazell, always played, but he's always had time to play, head up. And I know a few hardcore Spurs fans, Spurs fans, And the majority of those rated him. Lots of called him. When he weren't playing so dozy, it was easy, and he was slow and stuff. But one or two I know really, know their football. So he was a good footballer. Yeah, proper footballer.
He was.
He was.
I prefer dozy to Dozzle.
Dozzer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
good player.
When he left us, he went to some great places. He was at Northampton for a little bit.
Yeah.
Colchester for a bit. Ipswich Wanderers. Leiston.
I can't remember at Leiston. I can vaguely remember him at Ipswich Wanderers. Yeah.
Did he manage them?
He might have done actually. Yeah. He now runs sort of like coaching schools and that now. I think he does some stuff.
He's
down
quite
at
a good
the club.
coach. If you look,
I think he does some academy stuff. I'm sure he does. Yeah.
He's got his son to turn into a footballer.
Player.
And I basically think if your dad's a footballer and you don't make the same level of playing as he did, then you're a failure.
Yeah. What would have happened? It's been an odd one really, because the season we're having and the players that have broken through, like
I thought that the other day,
like Downs and Nydam.
If he hadn't got picked, if Andre hadn't picked up that injury in the first game, where would we be this season?
I think he'd have been a star this season. Then let's hope he, I know we're talking about his dad, but let's hope young Andre. I'm sure he will get over that.
But I know that Andre listens to this.
Hope he does.
Andre, wish your dad a very happy 50th birthday from us.
Please do.
And he's one of those players, along with Eric Lazenby Gates, that I remember their middle name. There aren't many of them. Titus Malachi Bramble. Or Malachi, depending on how you want to pronounce that.
You would. Hey, the next one's a player as well.
On the 7th, Jamie Clapham.
Middle name?
Junction. No, that'd be the wrong way round.
Common
Clapham. Yeah. Stop, Jamie. Stop Clapham. It will be 42. I tell you what, it's still in my mind's eye. He seems a bit older than that, but yeah, 252 appearances, 16 goals. He came from Spurs.
Yeah.
I think he had a couple of loan spells before he joined us. In fact, he joined us on. Did he join us on loan?
He did.
Yeah. And absolute great servant. I've written down here free kicks because he took some great free kicks, and we sold him to Birmingham for £1 million.
Yeah, it was one of the the so-called administration like fire sale of players, wasn't it? Had to go, but yeah, good player, and I just always remember him. Cross for Stewart in the playoff, and great delivery. Just at the bottle, took the all-important penalty in the playoff at Portman Road after the Jilton had missed. Good player, mate. Very good.
I tell you, he's often overlooked as a goal scorer in that playoff semi-final.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because people think about Magilton and Rooser. So final birthday on the 12th of December, but realistically should be the 31st of October. He's going to be 29.
He's Kevin Boo.
Kevin
Boo. Boo.
Yeah. 97 appearances, 4 goals. He's made 4 appearances for Ipswich after Mick McCarthy said he would never pick him again.
He came on Saturday.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, he's going to get his 100 appearances. I hope he does. I'd be nice to. I think he will now. I hope he gets
Mick's a bit like that. He's a bit sentimental. I reckon he said, Kevin, I didn't realise. He said, but I saw that Statman had mentioned that you were quite close to 100.
You need 5 more appearances for your 100. So come back again. Come on.
Because that will
I'll put you on the bench.
That will trigger a bonus, and you'll actually go up £10 a week more.
That's the point. You probably will do. And
So anyway, Paris-born, plays for Mauritania. Now some people get confused because they think Mauritania is the same place as Mauritius. And I've had this conversation, and they went, but no, it's 2 totally different places. Mauritania is on the west coast of Africa, whereas Mauritius, I believe, is on the south.
Mauritania is certainly west coast.
Yeah.
But he plays for Mauritius, doesn't he?
He plays for... Does he?
Yeah, I think you'll find he plays for Mauritius.
He doesn't play for Mauritania?
No.
I've got these the wrong way round. Plays for Mauritius.
Oh, no.
Try not to do a funny joke is what I'm saying. Anyway, he joined us from Levki Sofia.
He did.
On a free. And didn't he have a mate there?
Yes.
Will.i.am, Larson Toure.
It was Larson Toure.
Yeah.
Taker of the worst ever corner in ITFC history, where he kicks his other foot as he's taking it.
Anyway, so
corner.
At KBrew75, if you are listening, if you can just confirm to me that you were born in Mauritania.
But actually pray for Mauritius. Yeah. That would make everybody happy.
And one of us has got this wrong, and fair play to the other one for getting a good ribbing on Twitter for getting it wrong. Yeah, so that brings us to the end of the 6th to the 12th of December.
Fantastic, mate. Fantastic.
Really enjoyed that.
Yeah, no, that was very, very good. Hope all you guys out there who's listening, thanks again for listening, enjoyed it. If you remember any of the events we talk about, or please let us have any suggestions or let us know on social media. At Blue Monday ITFC, at David Diamond 3. I won't even say Stat because everyone knows him as a Renegade Statman. And don't forget to hit follow in there and like on facebook.com/Blue Monday ITFC. Ben and myself will be... Oh, sorry, Ben. I do this every time. Ben will be here with a preview show on Friday, which will be previewing the Middlesbrough game.
Yep.
This is coming up. I'll be back on the... Oh, it's today. We're going on a Monday for a change. Flagship show with Ben on Monday, which will no doubt feature Stat's brilliant stat of the week. And with any luck, we'll be here with more nostalgia this time next week. Goodbye, Stat.
Yeah, thanks for listening.